Hey everybody, periodically with my YouTube channel, I'll have a vendor or a seller reach out to me and ask, hey, can we send you a sample product to do a review video for us? And I would say 95+% of the time I just decline because it's stuff I'm not interested in. But this time was actually a little bit different. I had a company reach out to me, Mangoal, and basically what they make are OEM style dash cams. So as you can see, I actually got it installed yesterday, so it's sitting up here and it looks very clean. Now, I've always kind of wanted a dash cam, but I didn't want to have something stuck onto the window with a bunch of wires hanging off of it. So, this, they call it OEM style. So, they sent me the link to their store and said, hey, do you have a vehicle that this would fit? And this is actually a 2023 Yukon. Fits perfectly. I will put a link to their general store and also to this unit below. But anyhow, yeah, so what this video will show is kind of what you get in the box. Then I'll go through a quick installation video, and to be honest, that install only takes about 5 minutes. It's the most simple thing in the world. And then I took last night and yesterday I took some sample videos, so you'll see that. And then at the end I'll go over some final thoughts. So anyhow, hope you enjoy. So I know a lot of people are interested in the packaging a unit arrives in. So yeah, packaged very nicely. Now I've already taken a peek inside of here, but this did come with plastic wrap around it. So let's get into the box. It looks like there's probably some lessons learned and some additional instructions they've added over time. Also, if you're having issues with the app, those are probably more lessons learned they've added, so that's nice. And here's the main unit. See the camera, and this will of course replace the factory mirror wrap. And I see there's also a piece of tape on top there, so to keep that lens protected. So make sure we remove that. And then of course required cabling. This comes with they sent me the one with the rear camera also. I don't particularly plan to install this, but I'll kind of walk through what it takes to do that. And then your Y cable. I see the memory card, a trim tool, and also a little Allen screwdriver type thing there. So yeah, everything you need. And then yeah, here's the overall user's manual. Now, I know many times with stuff like this, instructions aren't very detailed, but I took a peek through here, and yeah, this is very, very detailed to help you get up and going. So anyhow, let's go out and get started with the install. Actually, before I head out to the truck, let me talk about a few more things. Now that I have all the cable harnesses out here, there might be a few points that cause confusion, and I'll see if I can clear that up. There's a few harnesses I don't believe we're going to be using. That would be this harness that plugs into like the OBD2 port, and also this one. I believe these are alternate ways to power the camera. This installation is as simple as just this one Y cable that attaches up underneath the mirror. And again, if you are going to use the rear camera, I'm not going to do that today. It plugs right in here, and then you just need to route this to the back, and I'll kind of talk about that in the video. And just one more point, it looks like they do have an Amazon part number here, an ASIN number that you can enter in if you would like to have GPS coordinates stamped on your video or photos. So this is optional. I don't plan on buying that module. I don't know if the position is too important for what I'm wanting this for. So anyhow, let's get out to the truck now. All right, so I'm out in the truck now. Now our truck specifically, it's a 2023 Yukon, and as you can see, that's what my current mirror setup looks like. Now just be a little careful you order the correct one. I believe this is the type A for a 2023 and 2024, but you might need a different one, and so just make sure in the links below that you get the correct one. Now one thing I'm doing here is I'm prepping. I took the protective cover off. I've actually installed the SD card, and you will need to pop that middle part out here. So yeah, it's sitting up there, and I'll put the camera on the stand here and hopefully get this install done very, very quickly. All right, now to get started, we'll just use our pry tool to get this centerpiece out. And I did bend my mirror down here to try to give myself a little more room. Actually just popped right out. Now we have to pull this assembly off. Very simple. Now there's, I believe this is the connection we have to plug into. There's just a thumb tab on top. It slid right out. Now here's our Y cable, the single cable harness we need. So that snaps in. And I believe I'll probably put it on pause here, but I'm gonna use a zip tie to get this thing tied up here real nice. So I didn't want to bore you watching me tie those zip ties on there, but here's where we're at. I actually forgot to mention in my previous clip, you need to plug the other end of that Y cable back into here, so you only have one loose connection, and this is what plugs into your camera. Now when you do zip tie it up there, just be aware that there's 4 clips here, 2 on each side, that you're going to have to snap back into when you put the new shroud on. So just make sure these wires aren't in the way for when you do that. Okay, so it's time to mount the camera with the new shroud. Now, of course, you just need to be careful here. You got some wires, you got to make sure you're not pinching things, but let's try to get that slid up in there. And according to the, I'll call it the lessons learned instructions, you're supposed to snap these ones in first, then the front two. There we go. Now we just need to connect the camera power. And now we just need to tuck these wires up inside here. Once again, I'm not connecting the rear camera today. And you know, I'm not connecting that GPS module. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just spend a little bit of time getting these wires tucked in here where I can find some space. And then I'll snap this cover back on. Now, this appears a little different than the OEM cover. These are curved, these are straight, so make sure you use the one that was supplied with the Mangoal camera. Okay, so the install part's done, and to be honest with you, that might have taken 5 minutes. So super simple, super easy install. You know, I spent a little bit of time getting the wires tucked in there and getting that centerpiece snapped on, but that one very smooth. And now all I need to do is connect it to the phone and figure out how this thing works. Now, if you did buy the version that has the rear camera and you want to mount that, basically, you know, the wire will come out here, and you can do it on either side of the truck, but it gets tucked under the trim here, around this trim piece, and then you need to pull your weather stripping out along your door, run it along here, around this trim piece, back through your rear seat, into your back window. Now, there's some other videos out there that show you how to do that, but once again today, I'm not going to be putting that camera on my back window. Alrighty, I just wanted to let you know where I'm at here now. Actually, yeah, that's a very good instruction manual. It's very simple to set this thing up. They give you a QR code. There's an app you download called SkyCam, and then once you're there, then you need to go into your Wi-Fi settings, as the camera has its own little built-in Wi-Fi transmitter. So you go in there, you connect to the camera's Wi-Fi, and then you go back to the SkyCam app and add the camera, and you're up and running. As you can see, there's the garage door. I know that's not too exciting, but I'll get some better video here in a little bit. But yeah, I know some of the, I'll call it the negative comments you see on this is, you know, you hear these little voice prompts coming from the camera, and if you want to delete that, get rid of that, all you got to do is turn this volume down, and then you'll never hear anything coming from the camera again. And it also asks you to, I'll jump back into settings here. Initially, you also need to format the card, and that's very simple. You just come down here to do the card format. Now, it also said you have to set the date and time, but to be honest with you, that's working perfectly out of the box with this one. So anyhow, let me get some video here and show you how this thing works. Okay, so just after that last clip, I drove the truck around a little bit, and as you can see, about 3:19, so I got some daytime footage, and then it's dark here now, so I also captured some nighttime footage. Now, all I needed to do was, you know, shut the truck off, remove the card from the cam, and then what you'll need is a micro SD to SD adapter. The lighting's probably not very good here, but basically you just plug the micro SD card in here, and then you're able to plug this into the SD slot of your computer. So yeah, File Explorer brings the files up, and as you can see, these are TS file types. Now, I don't particularly know what that means, but Windows Media Player has no issue reading them. So let me scooch this to the side. Okay, so this is actually 4K UHD video out the front camera. If you have a rear camera mounted, that is only, I believe, typical HD 1080i. So now I'm coming into a roundabout here, and you know, roundabouts are notorious for accidents. So, you know, I think this camera could come in handy someday. And if you look, there's a Ford Mustang over here getting ready to come into the roundabout. And this actually does pick up audio. As I come around the bend, you'll hear them get on it a little bit. Yeah, you heard that. So, you know, once again, this thing will actually record the conversations in the truck. So, you know, to me, that could be a benefit. If you actually are able to win an argument with your spouse, you'll have that on camera for now and forever. So, anyhow, let me switch to some nighttime video here. Okay, so here's the nighttime clip, and I'm coming into that same roundabout for the same point of reference. And as you can see, it's, of course, the roundabout's lit very well. The camera's picking up great footage here, I believe. And as you can see, as I come around the roundabout, there's not as many street lights, and you'll see how well it does in the dark. Yep, coming out of the roundabout here. And yeah, it's picking up everything in my headlights. There's no street lights through here. So yeah, I think I'm going to be very pleased with this. Hey, first of all, I'd like to apologize for the video demonstration there. I know sometimes video of video is kind of hard to see, but I was actually wanting to demonstrate how you actually hook it up to a computer and view videos that way. So anyhow, I got some final thoughts. I did write them down. There's a few here, and I didn't want to forget any. But one thing I didn't do, I didn't cover the app very well, and there's a whole bunch of configurations in there, and it would have just taken too long. But you can like set your videos for, I believe, 30 seconds to 3 minutes in length. And that's basically just to keep the file sizes small. You know, this is HD or UHD video, so those files can get very big. And the card they send you is a 128 gigabyte card, and that gives you about an 8-hour loop of video. And then of course it starts rewriting over itself, you know, after that 8 hours comes up. Camera settings, you can set the video and the photo resolution. There's also something called exposure compensation and WDR, and that's for when you have strong light contrast, so that actually might improve like nighttime video. I actually had that either turned off or in default in the videos I took last night. Yeah, a bunch of other config stuff. I won't take up too much of your time here, but they do suggest after you're done configuring the camera that you disconnect or forget the Wi-Fi. That way, if you have Android Auto or CarPlay, your phone's not fighting with the Bluetooth and you have issues there. So just turn it off, and if you ever do want to reconfigure it, just connect to that Wi-Fi network again and do your configuration. So now I did read some of the negative comments on these. Some of them talk about the voice prompt, and I showed you can actually turn that off in the settings, so you know the camera speaker's not saying anything right now. There was also some comments that talked about the instruction manual wasn't written very well. Well, actually, I think those were older comments, and actually I think this was actually done very well. And if you do want the rear cam, you have to buy the kit that has the rear cam with it, because you can't like buy the front cam and then upgrade to the rear cam by just buying a rear cam. It's a different circuit board up front, and it won't have the connector you need. So yeah, but in the end, I think it looks great. It was a super easy install. I don't know if you can see it with the glare here, but super easy setup, and I think I'm going to be, you know, very pleased with it. Just going to give you peace of mind when you're driving around town in case you get into an accident, or you know, hey, maybe there's a chance you'll capture a viral video or something like that. But yeah, again, I'll leave the links for the general Mangoal store to see if there's one for your vehicle, and of course I'll leave the link here for the Yukon in that description too. So anyhow, if I do think of anything else to add, I'll just drop it down in the video description below. But thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful.